Hi, welcome to Steve Jack on tour here with Cassidy Phillips after 3 days at Trigger Point Therapy Master Training in Europe. It's great to have you guys over here finally and rolling out the education. I've had an amazing 3 days with Cassidy and learning so much about the Trigger Point Therapy equipment and most importantly the programming. And Cassie will tell us about this in a minute, but first up, tell us about how you came up with Trigger Point, because your personal story is amazing. I think quite inspiring for a lot of us about how you came out with it due to some of the challenges you were having yourself.
Yeah, you know, I've been an athlete my whole life. I started doing triathlons 30 years ago. I became an athlete even before then, and the unfortunate reality of life was there was a fear that I had MS years ago, multiple sclerosis. So I started studying muscle tissue fiber structure. Got a car running by there. Started studying muscle tissue fiber structure, how to regenerate it. I was later diagnosed with a dysfunction called fibromyalgia that takes over the muscle tissue, and ultimately I just refused to allow it to rule my life. So I created the line of products and methodologies to really selfishly be able to work on myself, and in the end, I now share that platform around the world.
So when you were researching, what were you finding about the tissues, and how did you come up with the products?
You know, I did a lot of studying of Simon Tervel and Ida Rolf and Pin and Stretch, and you know, there's so many different people that have been in a manual therapy world, and for me, the biggest hurdle was being able to really work on myself. I could go see a practitioner, but I was more vulnerable because there was a limited amount of time that I could actually see them. So what I actually did was create a line of products that mirrored the feeling of an actual hand so that I could start to do some of the programming that they had taught me on my own. The problem that I found was a lot of it was too specific. I was doing it every day. I was beating my body up, so I needed to create specific products for specific needs. And that's where we started out with the TP ball. Now we have the footballer, the quad baller, and we'll continue to develop more and more products.
So yeah, which I think is quite unique, because these individual products for specific body parts, you only use them on those specific body parts, which I think is really unique and pretty fantastic.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where you say, hey, you can use a foam roller all over your body. You can attach a foam roller anywhere on your body as well, and it will protect you from drowning. That's a safety device. But as for therapeutic needs and massage products, you know, it has to be. You have to create a product to be able to go into the body and not damage the tissue through that process.
I think that's the major point of difference, because there's a lot of people out there who do use a foam roller, which was originally intended as a flotation device, and a tennis ball. And so your particular products are actually uniquely designed specifically to get into the tissue and mimic the way the hands do from a therapist.
Yeah,
I think is the major key.
And what I really liked about that, if you notice, the sun really came down and lit us up as he said that statement, which is very enlightening, pun intended, and that is, you know, created truly specific products so that you can go after the muscle tissue, not interfere with what the muscle tissue really needs, and that's blood and oxygen, and we're going to regenerate the fibers so that you can ultimately have greater range of motion. The tissue tolerance is going to be greater, and therefore the link tension relationship between the muscle and tendon is going to be there as well.
And I think what's been great from my perspective, I've actually seen the products and been using them for a little while, and we're over here for the Master Trainer Summit in Europe, and I know this is an exciting time for you because it's the first sort of branch out, and we've got now 30 Master Trainers ready to share the word and the message out and around Europe. But the thing for me was the programming and taking the protocols that you've developed and applying them and seeing such a big difference and impact that's made on my body in just these 2 days compared to what I was doing just messing about on. Do you want to talk a little bit just briefly around the programming and how you've come up with that and the importance of the system behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, everything needs a program. Everything needs a system, and therefore it's a rote style of memory. And so the programming that we put into it is called MCT, myofascial compression techniques. And what we do is we build compression into the muscle, but we also take the distal limb through range of motion. As we take that distal limb through range of motion, we also take the lever that we're working through, a movement pattern along with the device. So it is kind of complex in some ways, but then again it's very simple in other ways. So once you learn the programming, we feel it's just like brushing your teeth. You're going to go through those patterns. Those patterns are going to give you the greatest rate of return, and in the end you're going to have a quality of life you may not have had otherwise.
So there's a couple of applications, I guess, for those in the fitness industry, is that if you're a one-to-one trainer, they're fantastic for using for your clients, not only in a one-to-one setting, but also empowering your clients to take them home and use on their own. And from a club owner's perspective, it's a great secondary spend revenue into facilities to kind of develop this culture of self-care away from the club.
Yeah, I mean, my mission in life is to bring wellness and fitness together, and gyms understand the nature of being able to take bodies and challenge those bodies, but we really have to think about a pre-gen perspective, and that's what really our 2012 programming is. We want to prep the tissue to tolerate the demands you place upon it. Now, you don't go to the dentist to brush your teeth, you go to the dentist to get the real work done, so what we want to do is kind of take that same approach. Do the work at home, come to see your trainer. You can always build a one-on-one in there, but the reality is you need to do some stuff on your own to be able to maximize what the trainer is actually doing for you. The point there is that you can be the best trainer in the world, but if the client hasn't taken care of themselves, you injure your client, they're going to blame you, and you may have had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, well, Cassidy, it's been an amazing 3 days here with us. It's been great getting all the gang together, some old faces and some new ones, and I've learned so much. I'm looking forward to supporting it and getting it out across Europe. And if you're watching this, make sure you get across this at therapy.MP4. You can check out the actual products there, and you'll be able to also probably find a distributor depending what country you're in through that site, and you'll be able to find a little bit more about what's going on and what they've got planned for next year. So thanks for a great 3 days, and watch out for those flash mobs.
Yeah, right on. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see you.
Yeah, right.
Yep.